Brewers win. What's up, people? Aaron Nagel here with Cheesehead TV, coming to you live on the YouTube channel with some extra cheese the day before they play their final preseason game for the 2019 season. 8 days until they kick it off down in Chicago against the hated Chicago Bears. I just wanted to jump on here and talk some Packers, see what's on your mind. A day and some change before we get down to the cut down to 53. Hello to everybody jumping in the chat. Good to see you all. Danny G, can 9-5 just get here already? Man, do I feel that sentiment. The preseason is always that tease where it feels great when it arrives because football's on your TV screen and you see the new faces and the new places. And about 30 seconds into it, you're like, ooh, right, preseason. And it's even exacerbated this year because of no team playing their starter pretty much throughout the league. So, yeah, even less exciting than usual. But, hey, one more game to go. Pivotal battle for the left guard spot, the backup quarterback spot, depth at inside linebacker. David with the super chat telling us the Bears still suck. David, that is a sentiment that I can 100% get behind, and thank you for supporting Cheesehead TV while saying so. Do you think Elton will be named the Week 1 starter at left guard with a strong performance tomorrow? Brett, I do. I think he's got a really good shot of being the starter in Chicago. We'll see. Stephen A. Smith didn't have, who cares? Opinion on the secondary this year. Ben, I've been saying I think it's a strong group, and I think the emergence of Tony Brown really helps them. Now, obviously, they're in a much stronger position if Kevin King is healthy and can get on the field. But, we'll see. I really think we've seen enough from the secondary, including now having gotten Josh Jackson in the mix this past week. There's a lot to play with there for Mike Pettin. He likes to use a lot of different combinations, a lot of different sub packages. He's got the toys to play with, so to speak. Now they just got to do it down in and down out with some consistency. I think last year we saw some potential. Injuries really took a toll down the stretch. If we can keep Kevin King on the field, I think this is the makings of a really good secondary. What do you want to see tomorrow? No injuries, Matt. And a lot of running to make the clock go really fast. Who's running back 2 going to be next week? Anthony, that's a really good question. I still got to say Jamal Williams until I see someone else come up and take it. We'll see. Gary, over under 8 sacks? I'll say just under. Do I believe in home field advantage? Yeah. I think there's a definite advantage when it comes to the pass rush. When you're talking about 3rd and longs and defense's ability to pin their ears back, how hard it is on those offensive tackles. Yeah, I think that's a very real thing. And I know it's probably made out to be a little bit more than it actually is in regards to the vibe and the feel of it and the home crowd, etc. But that noise is a real issue. And there are spots, there are places in the league that are just inherently tough to play, even if it's a bad team. Buffalo comes to mind. If you've been to a game in Buffalo where the Bills have played anybody, good teams, bad teams, anyone, that is an inherently really difficult environment to play in. And, we've seen teams like Seattle create a really good home field environment. Kansas City has one. Green Bay used to have one. Hopefully they can create it again. But, yeah, I think there is something to it. I think most of it is, noise / when you've got an obvious passing situation, it really helps in that regard. But, every little bit helps, and every little intangible, if it's, rattling a quarterback or making someone kind of nervous / forget their assignment, etc. Those things happen. They don't just happen because a guy is forgetful or because he's not a professional, etc. It's because the home crowd did something to rattle the away team. You see it all the time. And you talk to guys and they around the league and they will tell you there are stadiums that are just tough to play in. I like the odds that the Packers can have a top 10 offense. We've improved the O-line and the receivers improved. I mean, I've been saying the same thing all offseason. I'm going to continue to say it here. I will be happy if they can get up to the line of scrimmage and get a playoff without having to take the play clock down to 1 second and call a timeout. If they can do that on a consistent basis, I will be a happy man. What, if anything, will Jamon have to do tomorrow to make the 53? Produce a lot. I don't know. Outside of that, I don't think he makes the team. No more Foghorn, please. I can only talk to the Packers so many times. I have voiced my concerns and strongly worded objections. I wish I had more pull. What do you think we can get from a Lane Taylor trade? Julia, probably not much. Most teams will assume that they'll cut him if he loses that position battle. I don't think that's a foregone conclusion, but it's a possibility. But I don't think anyone's going to give up much for Lane in trade. If Boyle shows he's the number 2, what do they do with Kaiser? Cut, keep, or trade? Maybe they try to pull off a trade, but most likely they cut him. I doubt they'll keep him on the roster as a number 3. Aaron, I don't see it. Why even entertain keeping Ficken over Crosby? Mark. I mean, I don't think they're really entertaining it. I think they're just keeping Crosby's head in the game, essentially. For a long time, people would say, well, why don't they bring in competition for Crosby? Well, that's what they've done. Keeps you focused, keeps you driven, keeps you sharp. I think that's what they've done with Crosby. I don't think they really plan on – I don't think it's a real competition. And I know they said it has, and I know they say it's close, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't buy it. That's just me. My opinion on the outside with no knowledge whatsoever. Should use an air raid siren. Oh, God, no. What's Tony Brown's biggest strength? His short memory. I was talking to Brian Gutekunst about this on the sideline during camp. He's not the most physically gifted guy. He's not the most technique savvy. He's not perfect by any means, but he plays each and every down as though, regardless of what happened the down before. So if he has a pass breakup one down and gives up a touchdown the next, he's playing the next down the exact same energy, technique, etc., and approach. He's got such a short memory. Every down is like a chance to prove himself. And for a young guy in the league who's going to get tested, that's a very valuable commodity. Aaron, are you a big college football guy? Zach, I am not. I love the pageantry and I love the vibe. And it was funny because I really wasn't until I started working at Bleacher Report. But I worked with a lot of people there, obviously, who did a lot of content around college football. And I really got into it then. But again, I don't really get into any particular team that much. I do watch some of the bigger games that are on national television. But for the most part, I mean, hell, when your whole life is NFL and you've got small children, as I did back then, now they're a little older, but it's just, Saturdays are the one day I get with them during the fall. Sunday rolls around and I'm working. So never really got into college football hardcore. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's just not really my thing. Are you sad Captain Andrew Luck is gone from Twitter forever? No. I mean, it was fun. I've enjoyed those posts, but I will be okay. What would shock you on cut down day? Somewhat realistic. Well, if it's realistic, it's probably not shocking. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would be a real shock that, isn't absurd, like cutting a Devontae Adams or whatever. Nothing would really surprise me outside of cutting Devontae Adams. Let's see. After last night's Hard Knocks, does wide receiver and showed against our DBs is a big guy, which made me think, who is our biggest corner? Who's the best to match up versus big wide receivers? Probably Kevin King, if he can get on the field. I mean, he's a skinny guy, but he's a tall guy. And after that, probably Tremont. Do we see more of Manny tomorrow? I doubt it. They got to give these guys a shot for the number 2 spot. I mean, maybe gets a few more series in the fourth quarter, but I tend to doubt it. Is there any way to get younger fans to games at Lambeau besides lowering ticket prices? Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe, I don't know, some kind of promotion, a Get Loud promotion that gets them in the door en masse. But for the most part, they've got a huge waiting list. I don't know how you work around that. Who would be Savage? Who would be Savage's backup? And they need to fix the line backs. That's not English, but who would be Savage's backup? Most likely Raven Green. I feel like Lewis is being slept on. How do you feel about him? Well, Joshua, he hasn't gotten a whole lot of opportunities. I think that's because they know what they have in Mercedes, but who knows? Maybe that could be a guy that ends up getting cut. Don't have to guarantee his salary that way if he's not on the roster week one. But I agree that he can be a valuable piece. He can be an asset. I do think Tanyan's going to play a lot more than he is. But, yeah, I think he could provide some extra oomph in line in the running game. And I think he can give you a little bit more in the passing game than we've seen so far in his time in Green Bay when he's barely been an afterthought. But, I think he still has stuff to offer, but I do wonder if he makes the 53. Ryan doesn't want to work. He just wants to bang on the drum all day. Why cut Taylor? They'll need the depth. Gary, I'm with you. That's why I would keep him around. But why cut Mike Daniels? Mike's a good player. Got picked up right away. Lane would too. But, hey, sometimes that salary cap makes GMs do weird things. Would you prefer Tremont in the slot? Well, he's been running in the slot quite a bit. So I don't think it matters what I prefer. That's what we're going to see a lot of. I think they'll mix and match a lot. I think Josh Jackson will play outside and kick either probably Jair, into the other slot in the dime situation. But we'll see how it shakes out. And remember, what we've seen, the morsels that we've seen in camp and or preseason won't really equate to much when the regular season starts. Jack, thank you for the super chat. How long do you think it generally takes new coaches to change any bad habits of the team put in place by the previous coach? Whew, that's a good question, Jack. I don't think very long. I mean, you come in, if you're worth your weight in whatever they're paying you, you better get that program, like you want it to be as far as the expectations, accountability, things of that nature. And I talked to David Bakhtiari about that on my podcast earlier this summer. And so far, I think LaFleur's done a really good job of kind of opening things up, making things a little bit more, I want to say accountable, but it sure sounds like there's a really good, healthy, open communication between himself and most of the players and or the leaders on the team. So I think, most people will be on their quote unquote best behavior early on. It'll be interesting to see what kind of habits are formed over the course of LaFleur's tenure. If Cleveland is Green Bay East, is Green Bay Baltimore West? I don't know, Mark. Slowly seems to be going that route, though, right? Milt Hendrickson's influence is evident. Who's second in targets after Devontae? I'm going to go with Geronimo Allison. Packers are up for a new alternative jersey next year. Which one would be best? Give me the old school green one with the stripes, like almost neon green with the stripes. That one's hot. Or the brown and blue one, not the one that they've used a lot, but there's an older one, like in I think the 20s or early 30s that I like a lot. What player is the most fun to talk to in the locker room? Jair or Danny Vitale? Do I think that the Packers would look at Kaepernick? No. No touchdown. Jesus will be the second best receiver. Oh, maybe second best, but that wasn't the question, was it? Packers need new uniforms. Okay, I'm sorry. Bye. I gotta ban you from the chat. Bye-bye. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna ban you for that. But that's ridiculous. They don't need new uniforms. It's the Green Bay Packers, for God's sakes. Obviously, Kenny Clark is a beast, says Ryan. Do you think he has the potential to play at a Hall of Fame level these next few years, or is that a stretch? Woo. I mean, yeah, I think he's got the chance to be an All-Pro, so why not? But let's let him lace it up in 8 days and kick off the campaign first before we start putting him in the Hall of Fame. I just started college, and I finally caught one of these live in a while. Well, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, let's see. If you want to get banned, ask Nags what the R word is. Yeah, right. Do they have uniform underwear? No. Which rookie is ready to step up and contribute right away? Darnell Savage. Will I be back in Green Bay this year? Yes, Stephen. I will be in Green Bay for all of the home games. So I will be in town next week 2. Can Danny Vitale run the outside zone play effectively? Becky, from what I've seen, yes. They used him in a number of one-back situations early on in camp once Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams both went out with hamstring injuries. He was running everything that they asked him to run. He looked good doing it. So, yeah, they got an athlete there, definitely. Is it strange that I wouldn't be surprised if we blow the Bears out or if we get blown out? No, not strange at all, Neil, because I think, and we've talked about this kind of throughout the summer, but certainly here lately during camp, we don't know what to expect. For 13 years, we kind of knew the route that these teams would take under Mike McCarthy. Now we have no idea. I mean, none. I have no feel for the offense, what it's going to be like, how effective it'll be. They could put up 35 points. They could put up 3. We'll see. Justin, thank you for the super chat. Why such low expectations for the offense if the wide receivers, et cetera, are so much deeper? In a new scheme, you would think they'd be poised for a good year. Well, no one's saying that they're not going to have a good year that I've seen. I think it's just an unknown. I mean, it could be anything from, stubbing their toe out of the gate, finding their way down the stretch, to come out the gate six guns a-blazing, and they put up 35, 40 points on everybody. I mean, I think it's a lot to ask to expect the kind of transformation that we saw with the Rams, because I think the Rams were so bad early on. And I know people want to talk about McCarthy's offense, et cetera, but I mean, they had a competent offensive scheme. I know no one wants to hear that, but it's true. And Aaron had run it for a very long time, and they knew how to move the football for the most part. I mean, LA before McVay got there, it was like 1935 under Jeff Fisher. So when they came in and the kind of metamorphosis was so gigantic, I think that has played into people's expectations a little bit, especially on some fans. And I'm not sitting here going to say that a quarterback of Aaron Rodgers' caliber is not going to, look good and put up a bunch of points and they're going to move the football. I think that will happen. But this idea that it's going to be so much better and just like top 5 offense like that, I think that's a bit unrealistic. Joe, thank you for the super chat. Have you tried the new Popeyes chicken sandwich? I have not. I went by the Popeyes in Astoria about a week ago, and the line was so insane, I decided to punt on that decision. Sergio, please, next beer on me. Sergio, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much for your support of Cheesehead TV. It really means a lot. Thanks for being here, and thanks for the super chat. What else we got? I want Pettine to throw the kitchen sink at the Bears in week 1, but how much should he hold back for the duration of the season? Well, I think he's got enough in the chamber, so to speak, that he can do a lot to kind of try and confuse Trubisky. And don't forget, he has spoken about the influx of talent and his ability to dial things back because of it. I don't think you're going to see quite as much as maybe we saw last year as far as so many different blitzes, so many different looks. I think you will still see lots of multiple looks and lots of different things kind of for the quarterback to kind of sort through. But I think because of the heightened talent level, he doesn't have to get quite as crazy schematically. Hopefully, that's the idea. The Bears' weakness is their quarterback. Ryan, you got that right. And even here, I will say this, though. You can still win with him. The Bears did quite a bit last year, obviously. Now that was with an incredible turnover rate and an incredible defense. But I don't think Trubisky is as horrible as many Packers fans want to make him out to be, or even some national pundits want to make him out to be. Is he, a top 5 talent at the position? No, of course not. But I think he's a little better than most people give him credit for. And he certainly has enough talent, and he has the offensive people around him, both on the coaching staff and talent-wise at the skill positions, that he can certainly lead the Bears to a victory over the Packers more often than not, unless the Packers bring their A game. Ooh, Nasir, good question. Kingsley Kiki, most underrated pick this offseason for the Packers? He's been the quietest in the sense that he probably hasn't made a lot of headlines, but he has looked really good when he's been at practice, the stuff we've seen in preseason. He just hasn't hasn't had a lot of buzz around him. But I do think they got a really promising player there, and I'm excited to see what he can do once the games count and once he gets a ton of playing time. Just be thankful the Bears didn't target Mahomes. You got that right, Matt. How great is that? How great are the Bears? They jumped up one spot to not take Patrick Mahomes. God bless them. Does this game determine the backup QB battle? I don't know if it determines it, Aaron, but it certainly is the kind of last word, so to speak, the final exam. And hell, Kaiser didn't mince words at his locker yesterday when he was talking about, He knows what's at stake, and he knows he has to perform, regardless of when he's asked to play with, against, etc. He's got to perform in this kind of last audition, so to speak. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to jump. Thank you so much for all the questions. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to yours. Please visit cheeseheadtv.com, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you like what we do at Cheesehead TV, please consider giving us $5 a month on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. It supports everything we do at the site, on the video side. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow after the game. I won't be doing a watch party. Corey is in Green Bay. I'll be here watching the game by myself. And then after the game, I'll jump on and do a post-game chat. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day.